Joining us now, Vice Admiral Duncan Potts, who's a former senior Royal Navy officer. And let's talk about the search and rescue operation. We were just hearing there from the US Coast Guard, and it sounded incredibly complex.
Yeah, it certainly was. The sea is a very unforgiving environment, even if you're just navigating on the surface and something goes wrong. But the reality is, going down to the depths of nearly 4,000 meters there is extremely challenging. I was just watching your coverage earlier, and I think Admiral Morgan's got it right. Just the pressure down at that level is catastrophic to anything if there is any flaw or problem with the vehicle down there. It's 3,000 meters below where any light can penetrate. And many commentators have been saying today, and I'd agree, that it's most probably a more difficult place to operate than even going to space.
I mean, to the average person, certainly to my ears, that idea of darkness, that idea of pressure, it's extraordinary. Now, the Coast Guard was saying they'll take a few days to work out, if they can, how, why and when this catastrophic implosion took place. But from the information you've gleaned so far, what does it look like to you in terms of why this happened?
Well, from what I've heard, you know, it's interesting, and I know some of the other commentators have been saying this, but of course, as a Navy, we operate nuclear submarines. As you can imagine, they are tested, they are thorough, they have safe diving depths, you have fail-safe options, fall back, and everything else. But it does appear as though the body of the vehicle has somehow imploded. It sounds from the description that the titanium parts of it, which I think certainly the tail section is still intact. So it sounds as though it's most probably somewhere alongside the carbon fiber part of the main body. And with the extreme pressure down there, that all you need is a slight failure and a slight flaw, and the whole thing will go almost immediately. I think for viewers who have even dived into a swimming pool or swum in the sea and gone down to 3 meters or so, your ears start to pop. Imagine going down 4,000 meters, about the same as the height of the Matterhorn. I think it's very difficult for people to get their minds around the extreme pressure that you feel at that depth.
It is really hard, and of course, the humans involved at the heart of this. There were journalists asking the US Coast Guard at the press conference about the likelihood of being able to recover any of the bodies of the 5 men who perished. From what we're hearing from various experts, it's going to be very unlikely indeed.
You know, in many ways, I think some people will be surprised that after this, they've even managed to find some parts of the submarine. I think if there is any succor for the friends, families, and relatives of people, it sounds as though it would have been absolutely instantaneous, to the extent they most probably don't even know what had happened. But you know, there's clearly the remote operating vehicle is down there at the moment. And the search will go on, but you know, apart from the substantial parts of it, yeah, I'm doubtful that much else will really be found. We're talking about an implosion, but it's like a massive explosion as well. It would have been very catastrophic to everything down there.
And from what we've been hearing from the daughter of Paul-Henri Nargeolet, who was one of the men on board, PH, known to his friends, she gave remarks earlier on saying that he is now somewhere that he's resting in peace, somewhere that gave him peace. And that is an attitude that actually a lot of seamen seem to share.
Yep. You know, I spent 39 years in the Navy. People have been going to sea for thousands of years, and people are lost at sea all the time. And that's just going about their lawful trade on the surface. Where these vessels are going at the moment is pioneer stuff. You know, it's only come around in recent years, and in many ways, The ocean floor is the great uncharted part of our planet. But really, most of it is being done by fully autonomous vehicles nowadays, where, of course, you can take greater risk because people aren't involved in it. So a tragic accident following on from a tragic accident with the Titanic as well. But that's the sea.
Indeed. Look, Duncan, thank you very much for sharing your knowledge and insights from your vast experience underwater and above water this evening.